ったく、レディーたちが困ってるのにふざけたこと言ってんじゃねえや。ん？でもちょっと待てよ。これからはナミさんの体が大人に成長していく貴重な日々を共に過ごすことができるってことなのか。さなぎが蝶に成長する瞬間を見れるってのもすんげえことだ。
What a freak. Who would like this perv?
Here's a picture. Huh? It's a girl? Oh yeah, you're right about that.
She can violate my rights.
Oh my god. He's just like me for real. Welcome back. As you can guess by the title, where we talk about how to make a good horny character. And this video doesn't just apply to characters who are horny, but characters who are supposed to make you horny. The reason I'm making this video is because holy shit, you have to admit that these tropes are weird and some of these fuckers are gross. Like, you can't defend this shit.
Don't look at me like that. It's really turning me on.
Oh my god. I want to know what compels man to think of such a monstrosity. This is why people got bullied for saying they watch anime. If your parents took just one good look at this, you'd probably be disowned. Now, many of you may just chalk it up as a joke, because we all know Japan could be a little out there.
You own cats, right?
Yes.
And there's cats here too.
But they're not cats, they're teenage girls.
But this shit is on another level. Like, I would be okay if characters like this existed in some anime that were designated to be like that, like Konosuba, 𝓱𝓸𝓻𝓷𝓂.
I've had physicals, there's nothing erotic about them. They just measure your
dick with a ruler,
height and weight.
Or Prison School.
Go peeping! Shut up, bro, not so loud. And where's this going down? We're scoping out the girl's back.
For example, because who the fuck cares at that point? You knew what you're getting into when you saw the cover art for the anime, but it's not. There's at least one horny or perverted character in majority of mainstream anime, like Master Roshi from Dragon Ball, Sanji and Brook from One Piece, this stupid fuck from My Hero Academia. I really hate this man for passion, I'm just waiting for the day. Jiraiya from Naruto. This guy has a nickname of Pervy Sage in the show. Why would you want that as a character? And there's probably some in Bleach as well. I've never seen Bleach, but I've heard that this fucking plushie is supposed to be perverted. I get these characters are supposed to be gag characters, but it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth when I'm watching the anime. And I am certain I'm not the only one who has the same types of feelings on this. So we're going to review the different type of horny characters that makes everyone feel uncomfortable, and which I believe boils down to 4 separate tropes. So let's start with number 1, the most common type of pervy and or horny type of character, which I will call the creep.
Ice King! Your constant harassment of the female gender makes me sick.
Now the creep is honestly one of those tame type of tropes out there, but it's still annoying as shit if it's overused. These types of characters normally range from someone sniffing someone's hair to watching someone shower without them knowing. And some of these characters are also constantly going on a complete tangent of how lonely they are, and they're so down bad to feel the touch of another woman. But these types of characters don't do anything crazy enough for them to have any law enforcement call them, but enough if you knew them in real life, you give them that what the fuck look, or at most a punch in the face. Because god damn, you would not want to be associated with these type of people. So why would I want these in an anime I watch? The only exception I would say this trope could work very well in is if you use it on a side character that's just supposed to be thrown away after one use. A good example of this is in episode 421 of One Piece, where Boa Hancock was hiding Luffy in a Navy ship vessel, and Luffy laughed so loud that this marine heard him and thinking it was Boa. And can you guess what he says? He says this.
I never expected such a beautiful woman to burp and laugh like that. Strangely enough, I find it sort of a turn on.
I won't lie, this got a little laugh out of me because it was the downtime of the episode and it looks like something he would say. And if you didn't find the joke funny, then don't worry because he only shows up for like twice in this episode and you never see him again. So I believe he's used pretty well. But again, I think this trope is still relatively tame compared to other ones, especially the next trope, which I like to call the fan service girls.
Okay, Simone, just hold us steady.
Now, fanservice girls are kinda tame, but they're also very overused. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a dude. I like titties. They're pretty fucking cool. So I like a bit of fanservice. I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with a bit of fanservice for both men and women, but there's a point where it's just way too much. One of the biggest examples out there to prove my point is in the anime Fire Force. For those who have seen the anime, you probably have one character who just popped into mind. And for those who hasn't seen the anime, let me give you a quick rundown of it. Fire Force is about firemen who literally go out and fight fires. It has amazing fights, a cool story, sound designs that will make you have an orgasm, and they have interesting characters except for one named Kotatsu. Because whenever there's an interesting thing happens, she gets naked. Like, no joke. There's a fight scene, tits. Someone's explaining crucial information, ass. They do this to her in just about every time she shows up on screen. It's so annoying. If you don't believe me, here's an example. Alright, so what's happening in the scene is that Shira flew down to help Kotatsu to protect her from this guy named 𝓱𝓸𝓻𝓷𝔂. Now both Shira and 𝓱𝓸𝓻 have a bit of a pre-fight talk like most shonen animes do, so no big deal there. Shira goes in for the first attack, he gets countered, and then lands at Kotatsu's breast. Alright, that was one time. Kinda messed the vibe just a bit, but I'm sure it won't happen again. She gets her clothes burned off. Then Shira slams to her again. Then this show has the goal to try and make this an emotional scene.
You can't let Lieutenant 𝓱𝓸𝓻 win.
Like, no, the moments are over. You ruined it. You shouldn't have done this if you want me to be emotional. Now I'm just annoyed. Things like this just ruin the moment. I'm sure many of you guys can agree about this too. I've talked to people who say the anime is pretty cool, but the fan service just ruins everything for them. And it sucks to hear because it's such a great anime with so much potential. But the excessive fan service is such a turnoff. But honestly, I would still much rather have this trope than the next one, which I'm going to call the felon. Now this trope is basically the creep trope, but just on a whole different level. The characters who fall under the felon trope doesn't care if you like them or not. They just go up and do whatever they want to the person they have their eyes on at that moment. One of the examples of characters who does this is Meliodas from the 7 Deadly Sins. This man will harass this girl, Liz, and no matter how many times she tells Meliodas to stop, he continues to do it within every damn downtime there is in the show. And it's just uncomfortable. Especially for someone who is...
I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake and then go back home.
God damn it, dude. They can't just even do it to someone of age too, which makes it so much worse. We're supposed to be rooting for the main character, not testify against him in court. So why? Why do this? I don't understand who this is supposed to appeal to. Nickelodeon producers? I don't know. But I'm so sick and tired of this shit. Like, just for a second, you decide to watch an anime and someone visibly underage is getting groped for a joke scene. And your parents walked in and see that shit. What do you think they're going to do? Kick you the fuck out like a responsible adult. Tropes like these are why people thought you were weird for watching anime, and it doesn't help that the trope is so prevalent to this day. And if you go to the comments saying the girl is actually 1,000 years old, so it's okay, turn yourself into the police. Please, you should not be allowed freedom. But finally, we got the final trope. Now the trope I'm about to talk about is a trope that I hate the most. It's absolutely disgusting, and the trope I'm talking about is the sister complex trope. I fucking hate this goddamn trope with a passion. Each time I see a character that falls in the trope, I just want to... Because not only does it fall under the line of incest, the character's sister is always some sort of lowly as well, which makes it so much worse. And again, it's usually a character you're supposed to root for. Like for example, in Mashal of Magic, there's a character named Lance. He's a pretty strong wizard, with cool ass ability.
It's obvious, really.
But guess what he has? A sister complex.
It's my little sister!
And sure, they play it off as a joke.
You drop this.
You're a lolicon? For real? I better call the cops. You're a pervert.
I'm not.
Are you training to be one?
What? No, I don't have a Lolita complex. I have a sister complex.
That's not better.
And that's perfectly fine, if you don't make him one of the main characters of the show. It just absolutely ruins the character for me. There's nothing they can do to redeem themselves, and I'm sure I'm not the only one with this thought process. Use this trope in the felon trope for throwaway side characters or for a villain, like how Hunter x Hunter does it when Hisoka preys on Gon and Killua. Because at that point, you can argue the dude's a villain, so that's why he has some Epstein teachings in his resume, and that he's not supposed to be liked, so that's why he acts like that. But even then, it should only be used sparingly, or else it looks like some poorly disguised fetish. Well, okay now Ethan, all you've been doing is shitting on characters and giving no real explanation on a so-called correct way of showing off horny characters, you may say. Well first, before I do that, I'm going to tell you to like and subscribe to help me build up this channel and make money, because I'd much rather put a gun in my mouth than work a 9 to 5. Now who do I think should be the format of the correct way to portray a horny character? I believe it's Denji. What? How could that be? Chainsaw Man's a gooner anime, just look at the fan base. And on top of that, Denji is nothing but a horny teen. At face value, yes, that is true. But if you just look a little bit deeper, you'll see that Denji's a pretty respectful dude. But how is that? How is Denji so much better than all the others? Denji touches boobs, so does Meliodas. Denji fantasizes lewd things with other women, so does this little fuck. So why am I saying that Denji is so much better than these other characters? Well, it's because of this one word. Can you guess it? I'll give you a hint. It's a word that Blizzard employees have a hard time understanding. Did you say the word consent? Well, you'd be correct. Denji knows what the meaning consent is. He doesn't go out of his way to touch anyone without permission, and on top of that, Denji doesn't ask for sexual favors when a female character asks him to do something. And sure, he does want some type of payment, but he will be just as happy to get a corn dog instead of touching some tits or ass. And not only does he not ask for lewd experiences with other women, rather it gets offered to him instead, like the kiss from Himeno, the boob fondling from Power and Makima, and swimming naked with Reze, was all offered to him. He never asked for any of it, but he was granted the opportunity, he took the offer. And who wouldn't if you lived the type of life he did? The only time I can remember him kinda asking for something lewd is with Makima, when she said she will grant any wish of Denji's if he defeats a gun devil. Denji at the time, of course, asked if sex was an option, but manga readers know what he asked for in the end. And I know some of you may comment, why is this okay to have, but not Meliodas and Liz? Denji's a minor too after all, and gets groomed by Makima and also Himeno. And to that I say, valid point. That is very true, but my counter argument to that is that you aren't supposed to root for these characters. They're not good people, and they're not heroes of the story. They're just the lesser of two evils. Manga readers, don't spoil anything, but just because you're less evil does not make you good. It just makes you the better choice. So this is why Denji, in my opinion, is such a great horny character. He has everything a lonely 16-year-old would do, and the sex jokes aren't really jokes either. If you look more into the reason of why they exist in the first place, you see that rather of them being in there for laughs, it shows how naive and easily manipulative Denji is. And on top of that, Denji's sexual drive doesn't ruin the pacing of an intense moment. Like when he saves a chick, he doesn't stop the action for him to realize he accidentally grabbed her tits and for him to get all embarrassed. He grabs the broad, moves him, and continues with the fight. He focuses on the current situation. But what if you want to make a more comedy pervy character? Well, the best example that comes to mind is Rita from Psyche K. This man is down bad and constantly harasses women, but he doesn't get rewarded for it. Rather, he gets severely punished for his actions, which is very satisfying to see. So I think he's also a good template since he gets consequences for his actions. Okay, well now that we know how to make a horny dude that's not a piece of shit, but how about fan service girls? What's the correct way to do that, you may ask? Well, personally, I would say the best example of this is 𝓱𝓸𝓻𝓷𝓂.
What was that?
I blew you a kiss, of course. Maybe you're too young to appreciate it, Sonny.
Somebody take this twisted child home.
𝓱𝓸𝓻 is such a well-written character for a lot of videos analyzing her. She's strong, smart, and cute. But I think for fan service, she's done pretty well, like in this scene that everyone loves.
よくやった。期待以上だ。偉いぞ。
I had to look up 𝓱𝓸𝓻's sexy voice to find this clip. This just goes to show that you can do fan service without a character getting fully naked. Hell, even in dub, people love this clip.
You were exceptional. That was quite the show. Well done.
And then there's that one scene where Fern poured clothes dissolver onto 𝓱𝓸𝓻 and she got naked. But 𝓱𝓸𝓻 being nude didn't feel uncomfortable because it wasn't the main center of the scene. Rather, they just instantly move on with the plot. And the best thing about 𝓱𝓸𝓻 is that she looks like she's of age and doesn't look like a lolly, which makes it where you say you like the anime, you won't get any weird looks. A quick editor's note before we end this video is that it just came to mind to me that another good example that just came to mind but I would still say could be debatable is Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
I honestly never gave it a fair shot to see how controversial it was.
There's chicks out here who just lounge around wearing absolutely nothing. You can see everything. But if you look at the world they take place in and the game the anime is based off of, it makes sense why someone like Kiwi would walk around naked and have no shame. And again, the scene isn't focused on them being naked, the plot still moves on. But again, I would say this is still debatable, but still something to look into when adding nudity into your story. So in conclusion, if you don't want someone to hate a character, but still want them to have some pervy aspects, just don't make them do anything that would make them end up in prison. And if you want to have a sexy female character, you can add some other attractive aspects to her other than showing skin. Anyways, thank you all for watching my video. If you liked it, leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot, and maybe check out my other platforms because they're running kind of dry. The links will be in the bio. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.